I have been going to the farmer's market on Saturdays to pick, but I still don't know how to pick fresh. How do you pick fresh? What do you look for? What do you know?
It's
Just in general.
in general, yeah, because it changes per vegetable. But I would say some good thought and analysis of vegetables. And then I would say if we're gonna go with protein, let's go with fish.
I also heard that the leaves, if there's like holes, it means there's worms and it's fresh.
I mean that is true, but I would stay away from the holes because the holes means something else was there that wasn't you.
You seem to be thriving now, opening restaurants, but I'm sure it wasn't easy.
No, no, sorry. I just if you were to know what I just went through for the past 30 days, no, easy would never be even a word.
So what did you go through?
So, I mean, here's the thing. When you're speaking about a restaurant, it's a living, breathing organism that will take its own personality once it's open. You can project, you can plan, and you can do whatever you need to think you know what personality will be born within the restaurant, but it isn't until people are sitting, dining, and living what your concept that you thought of in your mind, that's when it takes its true form. So then you have to then adapt and change and mold what the personality is to the theme that you planned so meticulously for 20 months in my case. And bridging that gap that's the difficulty of it. And that's what you have to understand doesn't just happen because you snap your fingers and a restaurant is born. So it's all about adaptation and evolution with the restaurant and letting it grow and letting it breathe, but also at the same time sticking to what you believe in and also giving,
to the core.
Yeah, to your core, because that's what the diners are gonna most resonate with.
Yes. So what's difficult about the last 30 days?
Well, specifically, I didn't sleep. My entire staff walked out on the second day after grand opening, and one of my business partners left me 10 days before the grand opening. And so that just put more emphasis on me and my own hands and skill, and I was able to do it, but that I was only able to do it because I don't need sleep. Right. So I literally for 30 days I slept for 2 to 3 hours every single day.
What do you eat? What were you heavily caffeinate? What? How do you not sleep?
No, I don't actually. I just drink a lot of water, like gallons of water a day. Like I don't measure it by cup. I measure it by gallons.
Oh my God.
2 or 3 gallons of water a day.
And that's what's difficult too about the staff leaving, because your restaurant business is also a people business, right? And then you can't control people.
Nope. Right. You can do everything you can to treat them better than anywhere else would treat them, but still in the end, they're gonna have their own ideas of what they want for your kitchen. And if your ethos and the style of management that you have, and also your schedule and timing and the chemistry between other people, if that doesn't work out, then anyone could leave at any moment. And the fact is restaurant openings are hard, and you have to be prepared to work harder and faster and longer than you've ever worked if you've never been part of a restaurant opening.
Right, and how is managing Carriage House different from Flipsigi?
So Flipsigi is a fast casual, right? So once you set up the processes and standards, any single individual can come in, and it kind of almost runs itself. Whereas Carriage House is a full service operation, and you have career servers, career cooks, career chefs in there. So just the people and management of that is really what differentiates a fast casual to a full service restaurant. But I would also say that the scale and the size of the initial investment for my investors, but also the eyes and the notoriety and also the expectation of the guest are all higher, more intense, and more scrutinized when you have a restaurant like Carriage House.
So with that said, why open it? You already have Flipsigi and it's thriving. Why endeavor something?
So my goal in my life is to challenge myself, but also to live up to the words that I put out there in the world. And I've always said to myself, no one else, that I want a fine dining full service restaurant in New York City. And if I say something to myself, there's only one person that can or cannot hold that promise, and that's me. And I'll never break a word to myself.
Are you always this motivated? Are there times that get you down? Times, things, situations?
I can honestly tell you that there have been, but I've learned to use that to motivate me even more.
What happened?
It doesn't sound like too bad but I can quickly recap it. I lived in Hell's Kitchen in the city. So it was on 50th and 9th Avenue, and I had to go to Union Square, which is 14th Street and and 5th Avenue. Okay, so I had to go 5 avenues across and 50th to 14th, whatever, 40 or 36 blocks. So I typically go my same route, take the walk, go to the subway, take the subway, easy. Get to the subway, swipe my card, no money on it. No problem, I'll go put some money. Go try 2 credit cards and my debit card. I didn't have $2 and at the time, 25 cents to ride the subway. And I couldn't hop the turnstile because I don't want to break any laws. So I go back up and I say, it's okay, I'll just walk. I walk, I get to the top, it's pouring. And not just pouring, it's like sideways rain.
Yeah.
So then I proceed to walk from Times Square to Union Square in the pouring rain with no umbrella because I couldn't afford one, with less than $2.25 to my name because all my credit cards were maxed, and I just couldn't afford to to take any other mode of transportation other than my legs. And every step from there, from 49th Street and 7th Avenue to 5th Avenue and 14th Street, every step when my shoes were squishing, where I was freezing because I didn't have a jacket, everything is soaked in the rain, I will never forget that feeling. And so when I was doing it, I was so embarrassed to be in that position because I had only myself to blame. And I said, I will never, ever have this feeling ever again. And I've spent my entire life and career from that moment sprinting the opposite direction away from that feeling. And that only direction, because that was rock bottom, is up.
Right. I love that. Thank you for sharing that story. It's amazing.
Yeah.
How did you turn yourself around from that time on?
I mean, I think it was my mindset, and it was saying, okay, I can either let this break me and depress me, or I can use this as motivation to understand that if I look at this and say, do you like how you feel? Is this good for you? And the answer is pretty easy. No, I don't like how I feel, and this is embarrassing to be in this position. So now I go, so what are you gonna do about it? And really, that's how I've spent the rest of my career. What are you gonna do about it? And now I've used that to motivate myself and everyone around me, because no one is gonna believe in you or care as much as you. And so I fully understand that and believe that, and that's why I do what I do to this day. And now I have something to prove to myself to be as far away from that person as I ever will be.
And now life is good.
No, life is amazing, and yet I still find ways to challenge myself, and I don't ever get complacent, because that means that I could revert back to that feeling again. So I'm just always gonna keep moving forward, and I have large, grand aspirations for not just myself or the people around me and my team who have believed in me since day one. I also believe that we as a Filipino culture and heritage, as POC brown people in the United States, have a voice, have a talent that is unmatched, unbridled throughout the entire world. And I wanna be a leading voice in that movement.
I love that. Now your tips for entrepreneurship for Filipinos, where there's so many. I was at the travel fair not too long ago in Burbank, first ever Philippine travel fair, and there's a lot of small hustles, like food hustles. They're doing this as a side hustle because they want to promote also Filipino food and what they love, right? But entrepreneurship is a different beast.
Yeah.
So what would be your tips to those who may be thinking about maybe pushing their side hustle to something bigger?
Yeah. I think I don't even need multiple tips. It's just one tip in 2 words. And if I were to tell anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, there's one thing that you have to live by, and it's never relent. And I think, that's why I'm successful, and that's why I'm in this position, is because I don't let anyone ever tell me that I can't do something. And if I set my mind to something, literally nothing can stop me. And then there's a difference between believing it, then there's a difference between applying it. Because when you're applying it, then you have people who are gonna constantly doubt you, gonna constantly criticize you, and make you think that maybe what your vision is not the right path. But if you have that kind of conviction and you do not relent, you know what your vision is, and you're gonna pursue that. And as you pursue that, and you will push through all of those barriers that people put up, or maybe you put up inside of you, and believe me, at the end you can accomplish anything that you, as now is a little bit more a cliche, that you set your mind to.
This show is about stories of Filipino representation, immigration and representation. You are the son of immigrant parents. I'm sure there's different struggles attached to that as well growing up, right?
I think it's a lot of the same problems and issues that a lot of other immigrant kids had. It's bringing your school, or bringing your lunch to school and people saying that it smells and is weird, and even teachers saying you're not allowed to eat it because it disrupts classroom environments. And I'm like, you mean my amazing tasting food, you don't like how it smells because thus is repulsive? Go ahead and eat your green bean casserole from a can while I eat my chicken adobo with jasmine rice that is delicious, that everyone wants. So I went through that embarrassment. I went through thinking that being white and being light-skinned and looking like that, and that is the epitome of greatness, of sexual desire, of success, I was brainwashed. But I also had a lot of different feelings about who I was, and the insecurities of that still kind of a little haunt me to this day. And I think that I don't want any other person who looks like me or feels like me and is an immigrant like me to feel that way.
Speaking from where you are now, talking to that young boy who was embarrassed, what would you say to that young boy?
It's crazy because I think because I went through that, it made me who I am today. So if I were to say anything, I would tell him, it's gonna get worse, but you're gonna be amazing for it because of it.
Right. And you're amazing for it. Thank you so much again.